Good evening. Today we are going to start with discussion of previous year questions. In today's session, we are looking at CSAT Comprehension, Set A, passage number 2 of UPSC 2023 Prelims GS paper 2, and as a first step, you are going to attempt a certain number of questions from passage number 2 of CSAT 2023, and you will do it honestly for a change. Once you have done the question, then I am going to reiterate the strategy needed to crack this particular question type or revise this particular strategy. Then we are going to learn the right method to read the passage, which is a crucial part. We will identify the passage and its inherent challenges. Every passage has a certain number of inherent challenges. Every type of passage has a certain number of inherent challenges. And once you realize them, then handling the passage and its consequent questions is something which becomes easier for you. We will try to ace the challenges of this particular type of passage which we are going to encounter now. Then we are going to study the required attitude for solving questions on CSAT Comprehension. As a next step, we are going to learn to identify the question type, and we learn the strategy for this particular type of question that we are going to discuss now. As a last step, we are going to apply the strategy for this type of question. So, be ready with your pen and paper. Take care that in order to benefit from this particular session, you will have to watch the video very carefully, and when prompted, please pause the video and attempt the question in a very honest manner. Keep a record of why you rejected or accepted a particular answer choice. Then watch the rest of the video, and you can pause, rewind and rewatch to understand it in a better manner. This is the passage which appeared on the exam. I want you to have a look at it. You get a total amount of 3 minutes to attempt this particular question. Go slow, focus upon accuracy and attempt it by whatever method you think is right or whatever method has been taught to you by me or by somebody else. Please pause the video at this stage. Okay, let's start. In case of comprehension, the first step is that you need to know how to read the passage. Always remember, in case of reading comprehension which appears on your exam, handling the comprehension questions becomes easier if you read the passage casually with a very cool mind. And there's a reason for that. You should take care that you do not focus upon trying to understand each and everything which is written in the passage. You have to take care that you do not focus on trying to remember everything. These are things which you cannot do. On the other hand, in case of the exam, you get a very limited amount of time. And in that limited amount of time that you get on the exam, you cannot afford to focus on understanding each and everything which is written in the passage. You also cannot afford to focus upon trying to remember everything which is written in the passage. If you try to do these two impossible things, then automatically you're going to put so much of pressure upon your head that your brain is not going to work properly. So, you have a great brain, and if it is not overloaded with the tension of understanding and remembering everything, only then will it perform excellently. And you can develop a sense of the passage in a better manner. So, read the passage in a casual way. That is the first step. In the process of reading of the passage, you also have to identify the type of the passage that you are encountering. So if I look at this particular passage and I try to identify the passage type, then I can very clearly see that the passage starts with talking about more than half of Indian women and almost a quarter of Indian men of working age suffer from anemia. According to studies, they are anywhere from 5 to 15% less productive than they could be as a result thereof. In simple language, this particular sentence is discussing that a high proportion of Indian men and Indian women of working age, they suffer from anemia, making them 5 to 15% less productive. This is the first part of the passage. Then comes the next part, which says India also has the largest tuberculosis burden in the world, costing 170 million work days to the country annually. But what is just as important as lost productivity now is lost potential in the future. This particular sentence in simple language is saying that a lot of people in India also suffer from tuberculosis, costing 117 million work days to the country annually. Lost potential in the future is just as important as lost productivity. Then I come to the next part of the passage, which says it is becoming increasingly clear that on many measures of cognitive ability, malnourished Indian children perform 2 or 3 times worse than their adequately nourished peers. In simple language, this sentence is saying that malnourished Indian children perform 2 or 3 times worse than their adequately nourished peers on many measures of cognitive ability. They're less intelligent. Then comes the last part of the passage, which says for an economy that will be more dependent on highly skilled workers, this poses a significant challenge, and it is one that really should be addressed given India's demographic outlook. Which in simpler words says, for Indian economy that will be more dependent on highly skilled workers, all of these things, they pose a significant challenge, and it is one that really should be addressed given India's demographic outlook. You can observe that in case of this particular passage, the first point is a reason, second one is also a reason, third one is also a reason, and the fourth one is actually a conclusion which is based upon these 3 reasons. This is the part which is the viewpoint of the author, and in order to convince you about this particular viewpoint or this particular conclusion, the author has given 3 clear reasons, which basically makes it a argumentative passage. Argumentative passages always have a clear conclusion or a viewpoint which the author expresses, and then there are a certain number of reasons. In this particular case, there are 3 reasons. Always remember that in case of argumentative passages, you have to identify 3 things. Those 3 things are, you need to be great at identifying whatever is the conclusion or the viewpoint of the author. 1. Second, you need to identify the reasons given by the author in order to support his viewpoint. And third thing, which requires a little bit of brain, is that you need to identify the central message which the author is trying to convey. Out here, the author is giving 3 reasons why for an Indian economy that will be more dependent on highly skilled workers, balanced nutrition, preempting and mitigating health problems pose a significant challenge. These should be addressed given India's demographic outlook. This is the central message being conveyed by the author in this passage. Argumentative passages, they will always be more difficult to read and understand. They will be more complicated in terms of the language, in terms of whatever they mention. And difficult questions can also be framed upon argumentative passages. That's the reason why most of the passages in case of your exam are going to be argumentative passages. The next step is we have to understand the required attitude for solving these questions. You have to be very clear of the fact that all aptitude tests, GMAT, GRE, SAT, IMCAT, CSAT, all of them, they use evidence-based reading comprehension rules. Evidence-based reading comprehension is reading comprehension where answers of all questions are mentioned explicitly or implicitly in the passage itself, and you do not need to really step out of the passage in order to answer those questions. But also take care that CSAT is a civil services aptitude test, or it's a test which is modified according to the requirement of civil servants' perception and attitude. That is the reason why this is a shared role play situation, and you have to play the role of a civil servant here. If you look at what a civil servant does, then civil servant is somebody who focuses upon mitigating problems, decreasing problems of the country, solving problems of the country, and he is focused upon the development of the country. These are 3 points, which means the required attitude in case of these questions is a prescriptive attitude. Your prescriptions have to be focused upon mitigating problems, solving problems, and upon the development of your country. So, the next step is to identify the question type, which is a difficult step. If I look at the language of this question, it says, which of the following statements best reflects what is implied by the passage? the presence of the word implied is an indicator that this is an implied idea question. So either the right answer is explicitly or implicitly mentioned in the passage, written in the passage, or hidden within the passage, or we need to choose an answer which matches the viewpoint and central message of the author, something which you already know now. Moreover, the answer needs to have a prescriptive attitude and perception also. So, in case of implied idea questions, always remember that these implied idea questions can be phrased in different manners. For example, the question can say the author of the passage implies that. What does the author hint about something? The passage suggests that. Which of the following follows from the information in the passage? Which of the following can be inferred from the passage? Which of the following can be concluded from the passage? What can be deduced about something? The author mentions which of the following in the passage? The author of the passage asserts which of the following? The author provides information that would answer which of the following questions? Or which of the following must be true according to the passage? Which basically means that these keywords, imply, hint, suggest, asserts, mention, infer, conclude, deduce, follows, must be true, are the keywords which indicate that a particular question is an implied idea question, and you need to use a specific strategy for implied idea question in case of that one. So, the strategy to handle the implied idea questions is, you have to take care that the abilities being tested are, you need to be good at identifying an implied idea question in the first place by the presence of certain keywords. So, what is being tested is whether you can choose an answer that would meet three criteria. First of all, it should be supported 100% by the information in the passage. It must be true in all respects. And it should be safe to say without exceptions. There shouldn't be anything objectionable inside it. It should be perfectly or unobjectionable answer based upon the passage. So, the strategy to handle the implied idea questions is, take care, many questions in this category may have a trap answer that is based upon your memory. Something which you remember. The wrong answer, which is a trap answer and an attractive answer, it may appeal to your intelligence. Or it may appeal to your viewpoint which is based on the passage. Or it may contain extrapolated information which looks okay. Or it may be based upon judgments that are out of the scope of the passage that you have made. So keep away from any of these pitfalls. It is very safe to hook such questions by matching the passage information with the 4 answer options and by following the process of elimination. That works here, 100%. So, keywords such as imply, hint, suggest, follow, deduce, infer, conclude, etc. must be true. All of them indicate this is a clear implied idea question. In case of implied idea questions, you need to attempt them the way you attempt the specific detailed questions, and you attempt them as a keyword approach where you identify the keyword and the key concept, and then you find out the key sentence. You have to read and understand the question. If the question uses fancy English language, complicated English language, you need to paraphrase it, translate it into a simple language that you can handle easily. The keyword may be present in the 4 answer choices, and you'll have to do the matching bit. Read the sentence with the keyword and see if you found the information you need to answer the question. If the passage uses fancy English, translate it into simple language that you can handle easily. Then match your answer of the question to the 4 answers which are given and choose the best answer. So, if I look at the ideal way of handling this particular passage, then the method is that I first of all go in for reading this passage casually, and I try to identify what kind of a passage is it. I do not over focus upon trying to understand each and every tidbit of information which is written here, and I do not focus upon trying to remember it. Also, the passage is not running away anywhere. If there is some information which is essential, important for us to answer the question, we can always come back to the passage and we can find that information. So, when I read this passage and I realize that in case of this particular passage, there are 3 reasons which have been given in order to arrive at this particular conclusion or viewpoint which is being expressed by the author, then we identify it as a question, as a passage which is of the argumentative type. And the moment I realize it's an argumentative passage, I will have to clearly jot down what is the viewpoint of the author, what are the 2-3 reasons which he has given to convince you about that particular viewpoint, Based upon that, I need to understand the message of the author. Now, once you have realized that, you go in for reading the question which says which of the following statements best reflects what is implied by the passage. After reading this particular question, then you go back to the passage and realize that this question is asking you to find what is implied by the passage. So the right answer has to be either written explicitly or implicitly in the passage. If not, then the answer has to be completely prescriptive based upon the message of the author. So the message of the author has to be written somewhere by you on your rough paper. After this, now we look at it again. The moment I see this question, it's an argumentative passage, I need to be clear about the 2-3 reasons which have been given and the conclusion or the viewpoint of the author. Once I realize this, and once I have the message of the author very clearly written down somewhere, and that message out here is saying that author has given 3 reasons why for an Indian economy that will be more dependent on highly skilled workers, 3 things: balanced nutrition, preempting and mitigating health problems, they pose a significant challenge. These should be addressed given India's demographic outlook. After this, I look at the 4 answer choices. And when I look at the 4 answer choices, I will realize that whatever was the information given in the passage, the 3 reasons and the conclusion, that does not match any of these 4 answer choices. Which means whatever is the right answer, it is not mentioned here in an explicit manner or in an implicit manner, in an overt manner or in a covert manner. This means that the right answer is based upon the message of the author. And the message of the author was this one. When I look at the message of the author and I match it up with the 4 answer choices, A choice says education system must be strengthened in rural areas. Rural areas are not mentioned here. This is not the focus of the message of the author. So this becomes an excuse for me to kick out A as an answer. Then I look at B choice, which says large scale and effective implementation of skill development program is a need of the hour. The author is not focusing upon skill development programs being implemented and that being the need of the hour. That is the reason why this out of scope thing is something which gives me a reason to kick it out, and I'm left with, and I kicked out this B as an answer choice. Then we come to C choice, which says for economic development, health and nutrition of only skilled workers needs special attention. The message of the author, or for that matter the whole argument of the author, did not focus upon only skilled workers. This is extreme language. This is politically incorrect language, objectionable language, not supported by either the passage, by the whole argument, or by the message of the author, as a result of which C choice gets kicked out. D choice says for rapid economic growth as envisaged by us, attention should be paid to health and nutrition of the people. Yes, focus upon health and nutrition of the people is something which was part of the message of the author, based upon the whole argument. That is the reason why option D becomes our perfect answer, our correct answer. But remember, even if I find D very attractive, I have to take care that I need to have reasons to kick out other choices, and only after eliminating 3 choices should I zero in upon the answer that I'm going to mark in my answer sheet. D becomes the right answer out here. D is the only one which matches the message of the author here. Now, as a next step, I want you to subscribe to this particular YouTube channel so that you can automatically end up getting the future instructional videos that I plan to release on a weekly or a fortnightly basis. I also want you to share this video on with your fellow aspirants so that others can also benefit. This is all for today. In the next video, we are going to look at passage number 3 of CSAT paper 2 of the year 2023. Bye for now.